They met at a courthouse on a rainy Thursday in 2012. Evan Morgan was the kind of man who made people feel seen, confident, clean-cut, with that lawyer's smile that could talk its way through any storm. Rachel Reed was there for a parking ticket, soaked from the downpour, clutching a dripping umbrella. He joked that she looked like she'd fought the weather and lost. She laughed. And that's how it started. By the following spring, they were married. By fall, they had a house with a white fence, a golden retriever named Buddy, and matching coffee mugs that said his and hers. From the outside, they were the American dream. But behind that white fence, the dream was beginning to rot. Scene 1. The first lie. It started with late nights. Evan claimed he had to stay at the firm, closing cases, preparing for trial. Rachel believed him at first. She'd make dinner, set his plate aside, and fall asleep on the couch waiting for him to come home. Until one night, at 2:14 a.m., his phone buzzed on the counter. A message lit up the screen. "Can't stop thinking about you. Last night was amazing." See, Rachel froze. Her breath caught as she scrolled messages, photos, restaurant receipts. Claire Bennett, a paralegal from his office. She didn't cry that night. She just sat in silence, the refrigerator hum filling the room, her reflection staring back at her in the dark window. When he came home, she simply asked, "How was work?" He smiled. Long, exhausting, and she smiled back, whispering, "I bet." Scene 2. The calm before the storm. For the next few weeks, Rachel played the role. Dinner on the table, kiss on the cheek. "How was your day?" But in her journal, she wrote every detail, the lies, the smells, the times. She was building her truth, one page at a time. On their 5th anniversary, he brought roses, 12 red stems. She looked at them for a long moment and said softly, "How kitsch." Evan blinked, caught off guard. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing," she said, turning away. "Just, roses die fast." He didn't notice the shift, the quiet resignation in her tone. Or maybe he did and chose to ignore it. After all, in their small Indiana town, perception was everything. They were the Morgans, the couple who had it all. Scene 3. The discovery. One Wednesday, Rachel drove to his office unannounced, carrying lunch like the perfect wife. His assistant looked nervous. "He's not here." Rachel smiled politely. "He told me he was in meetings all day." The woman hesitated, then whispered, "He left with Claire. Said it was an off-site consultation." Rachel's hand trembled slightly, but her voice stayed calm. "Thank you." She didn't drive home. Instead, she followed the GPS on his car, a feature he'd never thought to disable. It led her to an abandoned farmhouse near the edge of town. She parked behind a line of trees, heart pounding, rain tapping against the windshield. Through the cracked window, she saw them, Evan and Claire, laughing, touching, the kind of intimacy that used to belong to her. Rachel pressed a hand to her mouth, fighting a scream. When she drove home that night, she didn't cry. She didn't even feel anger. She just felt empty. Scene 4. The breaking point. The confrontation came 2 days later. Rachel waited until dinner. She made his favorite meal: steak, mashed potatoes, red wine. He talked about politics, the mayor, his plans to run for office someday. When he finished eating, she said quietly, "Do you love her?" He froze. "Who?" Rachel smiled thinly. Don't insult me with who." He set his fork down, sighed. "It's over." It didn't mean anything. Rachel leaned back, her voice barely above a whisper. "You keep saying that about every lie you tell." Evan's tone hardened. "I told you, it's done." "Is it?" she asked. "Because I saw you at the farmhouse." The color drained from his face. For a moment, neither spoke. Then his voice dropped. "You shouldn't have followed me." That was when she realized he wasn't sorry. He was angry. Angry at her for knowing the truth. Scene 5. The second lie. The next morning, Evan acted as though nothing had happened. He brought her coffee, kissed her forehead. "Let's forget last night," he said. "We can move on." Rachel stared at him. "Move on?" she repeated. "Everyone makes mistakes," he said lightly. "We're stronger than this." She forced a smile. "Sure, stronger." That evening, she began searching the attic through tax records, his files, anything that explained how he could afford the sudden spending, the new car, the luxury watches. That's when she found it. A hidden folder marked Bennett. Inside were checks, withdrawals, messages, money he'd been giving Claire. Blackmail? Or guilt money? Rachel didn't know, but she knew one thing: this wasn't over. Scene 6. The weekend getaway. 3 weeks later, Rachel suggested a trip. "Just us," she said. "We need to get away." Evan hesitated. "Where?" "There's a lake cabin." Quiet, peaceful. No phones. Just us, he agreed. They arrived late Friday. The air was crisp, the trees painted gold with early autumn. Inside, the cabin smelled of pine and old wood. That night, as rain began to fall outside, they sat by the fire, drinking wine. Rachel stared into the flames. "Do you ever think about how everything we build can burn so easily?" Evan chuckled. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Just that. Some things only look strong until you test them." Scene 7. The truth unraveled. Hours passed. The fire dimmed. Rachel set her glass down. "You never told me what happened to Claire." He looked up sharply. "What? She's gone, Evan. People have been asking. She quit her job. No one's seen her." He swallowed hard. "She moved." Rachel leaned forward. "Moved where?" "I don't know," he snapped. "Why do you care?" "Because you lied about everything else," she said softly. His voice dropped. "You're crazy, Rachel." She shook her head slowly. "You killed her." He froze. "What did you just say?" Her voice didn't tremble. "I know you did. You went to that farmhouse again. 2 nights after I confronted you." Evan's jaw clenched. "You don't know what you're talking about," but the flicker in his eyes told her everything. Scene 8. The confession. It came out in fragments. "She threatened to ruin me," he said. "My career, my marriage, everything. She wanted money. She said she'd tell everyone." Rachel's voice was a whisper. "So you made sure she couldn't?" He didn't answer. The fire cracked, throwing shadows across his face. "You buried her," Rachel said. His voice broke. "It was an accident. She fell. I panicked." Rachel stood slowly. "No, Evan, you killed her, and you've been lying to me every day since." He took a step toward her. "If you love me, if you ever loved me, you'll keep this quiet." Rachel shook her head. "Love doesn't mean silence." Scene 9. The fire. Sometime after midnight, the neighbors down the hill saw a flash of orange against the storm-dark sky. By the time the fire trucks arrived, the cabin was a collapsing inferno. Rachel was found outside, barefoot in the rain, coughing, screaming his name. Evan was gone. The fire report said it was electrical, but investigators later found something strange: traces of accelerant near the hearth and 2 wine glasses on the table, both half full. Scene 10. The aftermath. Weeks passed. Rachel recovered in the hospital, silent, withdrawn. She told police she tried to save him, that she had no idea how the fire started. The town whispered. Some pitied her, others wondered if she'd finally snapped. But one day, an envelope arrived at her door. No return address. Inside, a flash drive. It contained a recording. Evan's voice. "She said she'd destroy me. I couldn't let her. I never meant for it to go this far. If you're hearing this, I'm sorry, Rachel. I really am." Rachel listened, tears falling silently, until the recording ended. Then she deleted the file, walked outside, and buried the flash drive beneath the rosebush he'd planted for their anniversary. Scene 11. The truth that remains. Years later, locals still whisper about the Morgans, about the cabin fire, about the woman who smiled at church every Sunday and then vanished from sight. Some say it was an accident. Some say she killed him. Some say justice found its own way. But no one ever really knew the truth. On quiet nights, when the wind rolls through Willow Creek, they say you can hear her voice faint, carried through the pines. "I told you, till death makes us honest."